Okay, I am playing on the TV screen in the closet. This is the closet unit. This is the one that when I race people, they race on that unit. And I always race on the big one. The projector, well, it's being replaced. Incredible service. That's what I've been talking about. The how fast they respond to any kind of issue or problem you have. But I had this weird shit. Resolution was whatever resolution I was getting at that moment would pop up randomly during scene changes. And there's a lot of scene changes. Some directors like to just snap them on you left and right. Others like the long uncut scene. And it was random, totally random. That has to be software. If it was something broken, it would happen all the time, right? This flashing, if I was watching a 3D movie and I turned my Blu-ray player off without taking 3D off and then going back to regular 2D on my TV, it would freak out and this weird shit would come on. It would take whatever the last screen grab on the projector was, like the menu and the boxes and all that, it would be there, but this weird flashing shit exactly at the same frequency that your glasses would be flashing. So it was almost like the projector was stuck in 3D. And it did that too many times for my comfort. It shouldn't happen. Some things I got answers on from them, and some I didn't. But it's coming today. Bam. Okay, because I was basically experimenting. I was trying different switches to see, because what I found out, unfortunately, was yes, an HDMI switch will work, but only a 2-device HDMI switch. And you want something that supports 3D, Dolby, HDR10. You want something that definitely is up to date. And I bought 2 very nice ones, and neither one of them would work. And I hooked up just a plain old single throw, single pole HDMI switch with 1 in and 2 or 2 in and 1 out, and they work. And the projector recognizes if I turn off my PlayStation and I turn on whatever else is hooked up to that switch, it'll tell me, oh, do you want me to do this? An HDMI switch has been detected. But when I try the nice 4 ports out on a single HDMI port, I get nothing. Even with the manual choice, manual, not automatic, manual, I'm choosing which port should be getting a feed HDMI out, and nothing comes out. I have no idea why that happens, none. So I've been experimenting. These weird artifacts. So you know what a MEMS device looks like, right? These little micro machines. It looks like they're geometric patterns that look like rectangles with holes in certain spaces that are equidistant from the edges, like it's actually, I'm seeing something on the screen that is actually from the DLP chip that the lasers are looking at. And to my consternation, I was told by them, I'm not going to say any names, I was told by them that it was operator error. And I'm like, come on, man. That's if you're telling me that I don't know how to hook up, an enhanced, audio return channel HDMI cable to my stereo or to a device or whatever, that's fucking sad. Okay? You're trying to blame me for something. I'm telling you, I tried this, and this. That completely 100% eliminates what you're saying, that it's user error. And so I said, okay, fine, I'll take you up on that. He goes, I'll bet you that it's operator error. I said, okay. And so I said, I'll bet you a remote control. So this projector's going back, and I'm keeping the remote control from it. A man has to keep, listen, always keep, if you make a bet, if you say, I'll bet you this, then you open your mouth. And if the guy accepts that bet, you have to take it. And if you do take it and you lose, you have to pay it. That is a matter of honor. There's nothing worse than mooching on a bet. It speaks volumes about who you are if you mooch on a bet. My granddaughter, she broke phone after phone after phone. I couldn't get her to keep a case on it. And I told her, okay, look, I'll bet you $300 that you can't make that phone last a year. $300. Okay? And if I win, you don't get a phone for a year. So she said, okay. And I thought, God, you're stupid. What a dumb kid. Kids just are willing to just, you know what I mean? She wasn't even thinking because she'd just gone through like 4 phones. So she kept it working and didn't break it for a year. And when I paid her, I told her how important it was. I said, do you see? I said, do you understand that this whole year you've been thinking about this? She goes, yep. I said, you made an effort and you wanted to make sure that I knew that you could do this. And you had to put that effort out. And I said, if Grandpa didn't pay you, all that was me being stolen from you by me. I said, never, ever, ever mooch on your bets, period. So, fantastic service, but just weird shit that shouldn't show up. And it's, okay, if it's HDMI this, doing that, okay, so, and I think they think I was confused about switching from HDMI 1.4 to 2.0, and it wasn't. I was only mentioning that it wasn't in the book. The book doesn't talk about moving data. So I assumed, like the book says, you just pop in a USB device and there you go. You're watching whatever's on your device. There's very little in there about how much you can plug in, how much you can move. Well, it has this much memory, so you can't move more than that, okay? But I mean, there's no instructions in the manual of how to do this. It's, in other words, it's not explicit and concise. It's like the directions you get where you're going, well, what if it's, what if it's mine's, my use is different? What if, and you always have these what if questions, and they're never answered because they want to make it the everything as simplistic as possible. As simplistic as possible. And I know it makes for fewer pages, but when I first mentioned how bad the owner's manual was, this is almost like a fucking thick quick start guide than it is an owner's manual. I had some people over here from the lab, and these guys, he has a music player. And he was flipping through the manual looking, and he goes, you know what? He says, the manual on my music player is this thick, right? And half the size of a standard sheet of paper. He says it's thick and it's all in English. It's not 5 pages in English and the rest is different languages. This is deep and detailed use and function of his device. The wheres, what fors, if this happens. I mean, it's concise and exact. And he was very impressed by the projector, but he was incredibly unimpressed by the amount of effort that was put out to have you understand your device fully. Fully, okay? I can tell you right now, the shit that it went into more deeply, 99% of people are not going to mess with, and if they do, all they're going to do is fuck their TV up. Okay, trying to change all of the tints and the hues and the intensities of all 3 laser colors and skin colors and blacks, and people are going to get in there and fuck around, and it's a damn good thing that there's a reset button. Because they'll just make a fucking mess of it. You know what I mean? Very few people know how to do the coloring on their TV because, plus every show's different. Okay? It's at least you can have a user function where the user has this set over here, and then they give you all these automatic choices. Okay. I think everything that I had was software related, other than the weird geometric patterns on the TV. Glitches don't happen in geometric patterns. You know what I thought it was at first? I thought it was Gran Turismo racetracks, and I looked over and my PlayStation's off. I'm looking at the screen and I'm seeing these lines that look like a race course, exactly like a race course. I wish I have photographs that I stored on my computer, but I deleted them from my phone. they look like racetracks. And then they would go from racetrack looking to these exact geometric, like a rectangle, right? With 3 holes in it, perfectly distanced apart. And then over here would be these little rectangle squares, like stacked 1, 2, 3, like that, exactly spaced apart perfectly. Glitches don't happen in perfectly spaced geometric patterns. It doesn't happen that way. So I'm thinking that could have been damage on the DLP chip, which is it's my only concern for this projector, is that it's DLP. And I've had too many DLP failures, okay? But most of them are DLP. So the technology's advanced quite a time since I had all my horrible DLP experiences where I had 3 fucking DLP TVs fail on me. Starts out with 1 pixel failure here where there's a white dot, and then another one, and then another one, and pretty soon you're looking at a star constellation, and it's absolutely unwatchable. Even if there's just 20 of these little micro MEMS things fucked up, it ruins the entire TV. So they all work, or you're fucked. You get a white dot that'll never go away, and it'll drive you crazy because your eye will be drawn to it over and over and over. But fantastic customer service, which means I am patient and I will wait for them to fix all these issues. I'll wait for them to make a better book. You know what I mean? I'll do it, but I'm not going to bother selling any until, some of the things are addressed. My primary, everything that I explained to you wasn't so bad that I couldn't live with it if I had to. If my warranty had expired or whatever, and it was doing that, I could live with it because I found that when these weird glitches are showing up on the screen, if I switch to another HDMI port and I wait until my stereo goes click and it tells me that signal's been changed, the audio's been cut off, then I go back to that HDMI port and turn it on. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, there will be an improvement. I will actually have to turn on a Blu-ray player or my PlayStation and change the picture and then go back to my Roku and it'll be normal again. Just unpredictable, okay? Unpredictable, and that's what makes me think that it was corrupt software or maybe a damaged DLP chip. I guess we'll find out. It's supposed to be here today by like 4 o'clock. So I hurried up and I cut all my little feet out for it, then I got them all painted black, and then I'm going to glue rubber on the bottoms so that they don't vibrate and move around with my bass speakers, because we had it set up perfect. And then I run my bass really loud listening to music, and it moves just enough where it makes that big of a difference on the screen, 120-inch screen, just by moving it just a fraction of an inch. Because what it does, it sits on these 4 little points. They're not flat. That's another point I would talk about. Your feet need to be flat. Don't have it sit on points, because then it can vibrate and move. You want it sitting on a flatter, wider surface, okay? Not a tit on the bottom of your adjuster leg. So I have to fix that by now using rubber. So I'll isolate the bottom and the top with little rubber sheets like I use for my tables so I don't break the glass. All that said and done, there's not a single projector on the market that I would trade this one for. Even with those glitches, not a single one of them. None of them can compete color-wise, and none of them can compete. I'm sorry, okay? They just cannot fucking compete. Even if, like I said, if I had to live with those and my warranty was out, I wouldn't buy another projector. I'd live with that one with those little glitches that I learned to workarounds. It is that superior in the color that it produces. Everyone who's looked at it is stunned. This TV right here, everyone who's seen this one, you can't buy a TV like this anymore. It was too fucking expensive when it came out in the end of 2015, 2016, okay? It was December through March, I think, is when these were produced. And 3D, 4K, 240 hertz. Just badass TVs. My 75 was the exact same television, except this is a 65, and everything is even crisper and sharper on this TV. I couldn't replace it. And everyone always thought, wow, that's just so fucking awesome. Man, this projector smokes this thing when it comes to color. We have them both running quite often. And we're looking and we're just shaking our heads going, man, that's just You know, we thought this was good. We all bragged and thought this was the shit. This is crap. So yeah, the projector's just every penny worth it. Every penny, every dime. And the best thing about it is the customer service. They want you to be happy. They want you to enjoy the product for the money you spent. And I would feel 100% absolutely, you know, I won't say guarantee, okay, but I mean, I would endorse AOL Vision. And you know me, I don't do that. I've been bragging about this thing. You know, I don't do that, okay? Not in 15 years. I just don't do that. We always tell people what not to buy. That's what you know, okay? All 5 pages. Don't buy this, and this is why. And because there's a million people out there going like this telling you what to buy. A fucking million of them, okay? But not a single damn one of them is honest. Because they're given the unit first, okay? And then they know that if they do what I do, which is basically tell you what not to buy and how fucked up shit is and what the real issues and problems are, not all the goldy, you know, gold-colored glasses kind of shit, right? You're going to be disappointed when you get your unit and you're like, well, what the fuck? This isn't, you know, what I was shown in the review. No, because, you know, that guy, he knows that if he does a negative review, he won't get free shit. They all know that. You know a couple of the big YouTube reviewers that I'm talking about. They got rooms full of shit. They got warehouses now. They went from just a room, a normal room, to a big giant room, to a fucking practically a goddamn warehouse because they kept giving them shit. Because all these guys do is just talk about how fucking fantastic shit is. And that's not reality. It's not how it really is, okay? I know for a fact that you would rather have me tell you what not to buy. This is the experience I had, and I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't buy one, you know, if I was you, period. That's what my group does. We want to protect people, consumers. We normally it's the, you know, like I did hundreds of videos on the Medicare scam because they would use it in their title. Medicaid, Medicare, all this free shit your grandma's going to get, rides to the hospital, massages, you know, and all these creeps that were doing it, right? Like Tom Selleck and all these guys. Same thing with the reverse mortgage, right? The most horrible, terrifying fucking thing an old person can do. But, you know, we try to protect people from that. Or the patent attorney bullshit with InventHelp, right? I can't tell you. I think I got 50,000 views on that video for InventHelp. That was one of the videos I thought about keeping too, when I deleted all my videos, but it was time for a fresh start. So anyway, I'll get the new projector today. I got all the bases set up and ready to go. And now I just have to do the bases for the projector so that they disappear. Right now, they're plywood and they're really, really fucking obvious. So yeah, these all need to be fixed right there. Those need to be black. And then insulated. Same thing. I need to get rid of the cinder blocks and have a nice stand. But that's all coming now. I didn't want to. I knew weeks ago that this was going to be returned, and I had to wait a week to talk to an engineer. And then we went through the whole thing, and again, he thought, oh, it's operator error. And I'm like, look, randomness is not operator error. If it's working right now, and I'm telling you it's working right now, and then an hour from now it's doing something stupid, that's not operator error. How do you tell someone in a more clear way that this is not me, that this is random, that it's here and gone and here and gone, and I'm touching nothing? That is not operator error, okay? So, and then basically I was told something you weren't supposed to do, which is, I said, listen, there's no off button on the projector. The owner's manual that I talked about, that's, you know, it says the blinking light is standby. Clearly, it says the blinking light means the projector is in standby mode. I know what that means. That's fucking electrical vampire. That's an electrical vampire. That's something that's using fucking power for no other reason other than it's keeping the lasers warm so you don't get thermal shock turning them on and off. I know that's what it is. I know that's what it is. But they don't want to say that, and so they talk about it's in standby mode, and there is no off. That light constantly blinks in standby mode, and you cannot turn that light out unless you unplug the unit. And so I was told by someone there, well, you hit the button and then you hit it again. And I'm like, okay, I understand how the fucking power button works. You can hold the power button down, you can tap the power button. I said, but if you hit the power button twice, nothing happens. And they tried to convince me that hitting the power button twice would turn the unit off. No, listen, the unit never turns off. This is my point. And see, they never really got it. I'm trying to, look, these are problems you need to fucking address, because I'm telling you that the unit is always in standby. And what you need to say is, in your owner's manual, is the goddamn truth. The fucking unit is always in standby because the lasers need to be maintained at a certain temperature, or whatever the reason is, okay? This is why that light is always on and it never turns off. Even though the owner's manual talks about on, off, and standby, it's only ever either on or in standby, and off is not a real option. They should tell you that, because that's an energy eater, right? So these are the kind of things we want you to know about before you buy, so you're not disappointed. And you don't feel like, fuck, I got a little buyer's remorse here. Nothing's worse than buyer's remorse when you spend over $5,000, right? That would suck. Especially just for entertainment and gaming. You'd be really fucking pissed off if you did. But if you know the truth going in, okay, and the 100% behind rock fucking solid customer service, that should take all your fears away. Because you know the little things that are glitchy about it. You know they're going to be addressing them. And you never have to worry, because they're going to make sure you're a happy fucking customer. Now, which is more important? The truth, or having some clown with 7 fucking, projectors telling you, oh, this is the one I prefer, and this is the one I prefer, and this is the one I prefer. Hey, man, that's all personal choice. I can tell you right now that you can sit down with any 3 projectors and make adjustments on those projectors to make them all look the same or make them all look different. That's the truth. It's about nits. It's about brightness. It's about color. And that is where the AWOL just rocks the shit out of every other product out there in the fucking market, period, okay? And I will live with the little idiosyncrasies, because that's all they are. They're just little idiosyncrasies, and they need to make the fucking owner's manual reflect the value and the beauty of their product. It needs to reflect that. Be proud of it. Don't have this little quick fucking start guide, because it is basically an extremely simple machine. It really is just basically just a projector, exactly a projector of whatever signal you put in there, okay? But it's much more than that, really. Even the sound system in it's great. Number 1 prime concern. Number one on the fucking list, okay? So on these TVs that I have right here, the Samsungs, they have a block. And it has a proprietary plug that goes up to the TV, so there is no 5 HDMI plugs in the back of it. That's another way they keep everything small, compact, and tight. That comes out, goes into the block, and now you have 4 HDMI ports, an internet port, RC jack, you know what I mean? This kind of thing, and a digital optical audio out rather, okay? So this optical out runs all of the audio for anything that I have plugged into this, and it works awesome. I can make pictures vibrate on my wall. This projector is woefully fucking underpowered. And this is where all the HDMI fucking shit started about eARC. I'm like, listen, if you want me to eARC every single device that I'm hooking up over here, especially if I get a switch, okay? I've only got so many fucking ports on my amp for outs for eARC. I only have so many. You need to, simply up the fucking wattage that you're producing in your optical audio and solve all these problems, because every recommendation that I looked at said, not only do you have to use the eARC cable, but you must use the digital optical audio out cable along with them. So now what are you doing? You're just adding fucking cables. So I think that was a monetary choice to go with a lesser amount of power there for heat or space or whatever it was. It was a big fucking mistake. So right now I'm living with it, okay? But I'm definitely gonna, I'm gonna switch that shit out. That's not gonna fucking work it for me. It's not. Even if I have to get a preamp for stereo in and not have Dolby Digital and not have all of that, okay, which is really fucking, that's a big fucking downgrade. It's the number one negative that I have, okay, is the optical audio out is just shit. But again, fucking sporadic. I plug it into my PlayStation and I gotta turn this shit down to 28, 29. And then I'm trying to listen to a movie on my Roku, and I've got it on 6, which normally would just be, it would make your fucking ears bleed. In order for me to barely hear the people, I have to turn it off and listen to the audio system that's inside the projector. So that's the number one fail. They must fix that. And the day they do, I'll start selling them. But until that audio system, single wire, one fucking wire, comes out of the box, goes to your stereo, everything's awesome. You don't have to fuck around with all that e-arc. The average person is never, ever going to be able to tell the difference, okay, in the audio quality between an e-arc cable and an optical audio out. They're not. Period. I know people that can't tell when I'm running my stereo or if I'm watching a goddamn YouTube video. They can't tell the audio difference between the two. I can. But the simplicity, one cable, one fucking cable, done deal, over. Okay? You don't have to dedicate one of your channels to enhanced audio that's not really going to fucking do anything for anybody. It was a piss poor decision that was made to do that. They should have all been standard HDMI ports, all of them eARC ports together. Have all of them, top quality, top of the line fittings is more important for me. So that when you're changing these over a period of time, you don't fuck up pins, shit doesn't get broken. Just a good quality socket. You know what I mean? High quality HDMI socket. That's more important to me than having eARC, to tell you the truth. I would just prefer the optical audio out, have enough power to be able to do what you want to do. But again, sporadic. Sometimes it works with some devices, doesn't work with other devices. No matter what HDMI setting you're sitting on or what audio format you're using, there just isn't enough power coming out of it. So again, maybe that's just a software adjustment. Maybe that's just software. Maybe you just go, change a couple of lines of code and now everything's fine. See? But again, it's not a deal breaker for me. I have ways around that. I can live with it because the benefits and the quality and everything else that matters to me is far surpasses all the little idiosyncrasies. I could talk like if I had bought a BenQ or if I had purchased anything else, I still would have had the same type of complaints most likely. All devices, all electronic, everything that I ever purchased was either lacking in some way or another because it's meant to make money. It's not meant to be the best representative of a stereo or the best representative of fucking TV. They need to make $1,000 on this TV, which means I'm not going to get the TV I want. I'm going to get the TV they want to sell me. Okay? So I understand that, but I think all this is just going to be a software problem and it'll all get resolved. So anyway, I think that's enough time that I've said. Customer service, best in the world.